To welcome a distinguished leader whose career exemplifies transformation, excellence, and purposeful-driven impact. Please join me in welcoming warmly Mr. WALE OYEDEJI, the Group Managing Director of First Holdco PLC, the parent company of First Bank of Nigeria Limited and other subsidiaries.
Mr. WALE OYEDEJI. WALE's raison d'etre is centered around empowering people and organizations to grow businesses that foster economic development. He studied agricultural economics at the University of Ibadan and possesses a Master's of Science degree in Financial Economics from the University of London. He has also participated in Harvard Business School's Advanced Management Program. WALE's career spans over 3 decades, the bulk of this spent at Ernst & Young and Guarantee Trust Bank. WALE was an executive director at GT Bank and also served as the managing director at GT Bank UK. He was an independent non-executive director at Stanbic IBTC Bank. WALE was MD CEO of Nova Bank, where he oversaw its transition from a merchant bank to a commercial bank. He is the Group Managing Director at First Holdco PLC, parent company of the oldest bank in Nigeria, First Bank of Nigeria Limited. He loves sharing the gospel, playing squash, and at the moment is a happy Ghana. WALE is married to his dear wife, Carol, and they are blessed with 4 lovely children. Please make welcome Mr. WALE OYEDEJI.
Let me go through the very difficult parts, which is protocols. I'd like to appreciate the convener. I and those of us in our community refer to him as the head of the blessed family. I am a member of the blessed family. I am blessed, and you are blessed in Jesus' name. I'll also appreciate our Mommy Bola Pandey, who recently achieved a milestone. Mommy, congratulations again. The president of my own institute, the CIBN, Dr. Dele Alabi. The vice president, Dr. Mojisola Bakare. I also recognize the presence of the immediate past president of the institute and the registrar and chief executive of CIBN. I recognize your presence. The GG of the LLC, Pastor Shino Joseph. I admire your humility. And daddies and mommies in the Redeemed Christian Church of God where I belong to. I cannot deny that here. I appreciate your presence and your leadership. It's a pleasure to be here this morning to speak about leading beyond self. And you know what? If we can throw this theme into the national discourse, it will probably be something that we require to transform our nation. Right now, we engage in what I will call the business of me, myself, and mine. What is it? What is in it for me? And if maybe we paused for a moment and decided to think less of ourselves, not totally ignore ourselves, and focus on our constituencies, I do believe that Nigeria will be transformed. And indeed, Nigeria will be transformed. So I have a short presentation. Bear with me. The deck might appear busy. The reason for that is to make it a reference material that we can go through. What you see there's a video that shows a certain gentleman called Captain William Swenson. This is in Afghanistan, in the middle of a serious war. This man went and faced fire, enemy fire. And what you see in there, I wish we could play the video, was he went to rescue his people. Your function as a leader is to produce more leaders. I said I wasn't going to talk about my journey because I worked in an organization and I should not be marketing that organization because they no longer pay my salary. But you see that in that organization, we have 2 leaders. they actually led beyond self. And they produced leaders. At a point in time, those two leaders had produced about 10 CEOs serving as CEOs of banks concurrently at the same time. Can I repeat? They had produced leaders in the same industry in which they were operating. In fact, there's a joke that one of them, I hope he doesn't listen to this, went for what we call a bankers committee meeting. And all over that meeting, you know what, were people who they are trained and groomed. And that leader made a statement, "Iletishu." You know what Iletishu means? When you are in a meeting, the people that you groomed are also at that meeting, meaning that it's time to say good night. Leaders must learn to yield the floor at certain times. God will help us in Nigeria in Jesus' name. I hope I can be saying prayers as I go on. So what will we cover today? Very briefly, the deck will be available. We'll talk about a leadership identity crisis. We'll talk about the hidden enemies of leading beyond self, which is ego and hubris. We'll talk about what beyond self really means, and some 5 disciplines, and a few case studies. And you might be upset that most of the case studies involve stories outside Nigeria. Then the culture you leave behind and the commitment I expect that we'll make here. We'll start with the first part, which is the identity crisis. Like I mentioned earlier on, most leaders are promoted for what they did, not for what they will become. Like I said, in the early years of our career and our journey, success is personal. You hit the targets, you solve problems. But you know, at a point in time, that's not what you require. And the crisis a number of our leaders face is not about competence. They know the job, but it's an identity issue. They can't let go of being the Ronaldos or the Messis. I hope you are watching the World Cup. They can't let go. They want to remain the superstars. And this transition is where most leaders stall or fail. What are the identity traps that stall our leaders? The performance trap. A number of our leaders are the bottleneck. Nothing moves if they're not there. Can I repeat that? Nothing moves if they're not there. They want to be at the center of attraction. What about the title trap? You have become fused with your identity, your position rather. Your position matters a lot to you. And when your position matters to you, when your title matters a lot to you, what happens? Every feedback you get becomes very personal. Every disagreement becomes disrespectful. And more often at times, we confuse deference with loyalty. People are just deferring to your title. I like to talk about some personal examples. I served as an executive director in a particular bank. If I want to refine it, I'll say I lost my job. I got fired. And let me tell you, that is when you realize that you are not your title. The people who used to address you as ED, this title, you know what happens? I was chastising one of the people who worked with me. I groomed the person, God helped me to work with the person. After I left the job, they started avoiding me. So let's not be confused with our title. I grew up in an environment where we addressed ourselves on a first-name basis. Some of my colleagues are here. They're still struggling with that. They will be calling you title that one day you will leave. But that's not the main issue. For leaders who get so much entangled with their title, it obstructs their ability to do the work. What about the heroism trap? The leader wants to be the hero. There is a crisis that your security man can fix. But because you want to be the star, you want to be the one to come there and say you have solved the problem. You know what then happens? Your team stop thinking. They want to escalate everything to you because they know you want to shine. So this, I repeat the three traps again. The performance trap, the title trap, and the heroism trap. Let your team be the heroes. Share the glory, share the credit, and not be self-centered. There is a shift that needs to happen as we seek to lead beyond self. The questions have to change from how do I perform better to how do I make my team perform better. Yeah, the questions have to change from how do I solve this problem to how do I build people who solve this problem. The question has to move from what do I know to what do I help others to discover. And let me tell you, there are consequences for leaders who have not learned to make that shift. We know that 82% of employees who leave organizations, most times, maybe in Nigeria it's different, we look for more money. But in an environment where it's not a money issue, they leave due to poor management or poor leadership. Can I repeat it? 82% of people who leave jobs leave because of their bosses, their leaders. There's a heavy cost. When people leave for those reasons, you spend almost 2 to 7 times in replacing those valuable talents when you could just have fixed the leadership. Very expensive. I have a couple of case studies very quickly I'll talk about. One, in terms of leadership identity crisis. Ford Motor Company, we know them. They've been around for over 100 years. They were at the brink of bankruptcy in 2006, losing a lot of money. They brought an outsider, somebody from outside the industry to come and work in the business. Alan Mulally, they call him. Alan Mulally first got into that business thinking that he needed to be the one to solve all the problems. He got a brain reset, knowing that that won't work. And he let go of that style. And he allowed the people in the business to discuss, to engage, and he was no longer under pressure to be the person providing the solutions. Guess what? When the crisis hit America, the automobile industry, Ford Motor was the only company amongst the big four there that was not rescued by government. Simply because we had a leader who then learned to lead beyond self. The moment that leader stopped needing to be the smartest person in the room, the company got better. I hope we can take some learnings from that. So I ask us a question. I want you to reflect. What type of leader are you? Are you a self-focused leader or a self-transcending leader? Physician, heal thyself. Do your own diagnosis. And if you're not the right leader, start to make changes. Part 2, time is going so fast. The hidden enemies of leadership. 2 enemies, big ones. Ego. And there's this belief you have that your position really makes you the best person in the room. Your ego shuts down listening. You no longer listen to people. You mistake your authority for wisdom. Please, by the way, as I am speaking, I am reflecting. Some of these things apply to me. I won't lie. Some of the people here will say, this man, you are talking to yourself. And you know what ego drives us to do? Ego drives us to surround ourselves with people who will tell us that you are always right. Guess what? You haven't finished making the statement. Somebody will say, that's a fantastic idea. May you not work with people who will derail you. Then there is hubris. Very dangerous overconfidence. Because you've succeeded in the past, you've accomplished great things, you then think that that will work. What worked in the past might not work in the future. My president mentioned, say some of us say the world is changing. He said the world has changed. What worked yesterday has changed. So there was some data that came out yesterday that shows the number of organizations in Nigeria. I don't know if you saw it, that in terms of number of customer accounts. Did you see it? Some entities that did not exist 5 years ago, 10 years ago, are contending with some of us, the masters who have been at the game for 132 years. I repeat, the world has what? And hubris and ego can work against you if you continue to say that they don't matter and you continue to ignore them. Indeed, the banking industry ignored those fintechs. And they came and did what? They started by taking our breakfast, and we said, oh, we are fasting. When you got to lunch, it was no longer a fasting matter. But there are things we have, and I will tell you. So I will market my trade because they pay my salary. We provide trust, reliability. You can go to bed knowing that you are safe with the banks. But let us know that together, ego and hubris can derail anyone. If you're a leader, make sure you have in your team that person that you don't like, that will challenge you. I'm telling you, you need people to tell you your blind spots. And we all have blind spots. Yes, sir. In the deck, you'll see some of the warning signs. Where ego and hubris is reigning, you will be the last person to hear bad news. You will have surrounded yourselves with people who are just mirror images of yourself. So be mindful of that. There's a case study, there's not enough time. Enron Corporation. Many of us have forgotten about Enron. They were the leading corporate entity in the world, 7th largest in America. They got so comfortable with themselves, got so arrogant until they collapsed. They didn't have any iota of humility. The staff who advised them that you're having a problem, you know what they did to the staff? They fired the staff. Imagine firing the person that God has put in your business to help you. So many things went wrong in Enron. You can see that in the presentation. There's an ancient Greek proverb. Do you know what it says? Whom the gods will destroy, what do? They first make proud. They make you proud. You have an over-bloated image of yourself. Be humble. If you want to lead beyond self, what do you need to be? Be humble. Part 3, what does leadership beyond self mean? Please note, beyond self is not selflessness. It is strategic expansion. It isn't saying that you not have ambition, but it's saying that you need to move the equation from I to we to all. Getting people to work together. It means your goals become inseparable from the growth of the people around you. And I wonder why we struggle with this in corporate life. As parents, and you know there's a prayer that normally is prayed that you'll be greater than your parents. Is that not a prayer? Is that not a prayer? But in the workplace, your subordinates will be greater than you. Anybody who suggested that is probably on their way out. If he works in the home, he should work in the office place. The people you are training did not have the opportunity of working under someone like you. So they must be greater than you. So that when you leave, you come back there. Those people will say, these were the guys that invested in us. These are the guys that gave us the platform. Or many people, when you leave an organization, you can't even go back. The security men won't allow you enter. And there's a leadership pyramid. We move from competence to self-awareness to culture and system, the growth of others, and we must have a legacy. A leader is best. This is a quote by Lao Tzu. A leader is best when people barely know he exists. And let me tell you something. There's a massive struggle with this in Nigeria. I'm looking around that there's nobody from our communications department here. They will not let you rest. They want you to be on papers, on TV. Why? Just groom your people, develop your people, and get the work done. I repeat that saying. A leader is best when people barely know he exists. When his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will say, we did it ourselves. And who gets the credit for the work done by the people? Who gets it? Or if you don't allow them do it, what happens? There are 5 disciplines very quickly in this journey of leading beyond self. The first is radical self-awareness. You cannot lead others further than you have led yourself. Can I repeat that? You cannot lead others further than you have led yourself. You are not leading yourself right, and you want to lead others. You need to be self-aware. You need to know your limitations. And there's a good example here. The current MD of Microsoft, Indian guy, grew up in the suburbs of India. He knew his limitations. And his name is Satya Nadella. Imagine coming to take over from the stars that have ruled the organization. Bill Gates. What's the name of that bald man like me and Elisha? What's his name again? Don't abuse bald people, though. You know there's a consequence. Steve Ballmer. He came and took over. And he realized his limitations. And he said, I must transform from a know-it-all person to a learn-it-all person. Leaders have to be inquisitive. If you want to lead beyond self, you need to be inquisitive. You need to be open to learning. And what did he do? He transformed the culture of that organization. You know what? He has done more for that company than Bill Gates has done for the company. You might find that hard to believe. It took the market capitalization from $300 billion in 2014 to $3 trillion by 2024. Humble guy, realized his limitations. And he said, no, my limitations will not hold back my organization. How many of us are courageous enough to acknowledge, this is my blind spot. I do not know this. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to leverage on the capacity of people that work with me. There's a local example I wanted to give. Cosmos Maduka. Do you know him? Yes. You know him? He was here last year. Fantastic. Many of you, when you see him, it's his accent you are listening to. Listen to his message. Started with 200 naira. Some people now, you send them alerts. They will be abusing you because their money is not. No. He had clarity about who he would be. His character was important. He never negotiated on that. And he has propelled his business. Do you know what it means to be a representative of Japanese brands? The Japanese don't trust America and self. not to talk about trusting, I didn't say Nigerians. And you can see, I'm happy he came here last year, so I won't. Discipline number 2, multiplying orders. And we said it before, you must produce more leaders. The most powerful thing you can do is to make people around you more powerful. Invest in people. Spend time with people. Coach people. Don't instruct people. Like I said, I'm talking to myself as well. Coach people. If you want to lead beyond self, you have to coach people for the future. You have to sponsor people. You have to celebrate the wins of others. There's a controversial case study, Jack Welch, General Electric, transformational leader. Transformational leader. But there's also a school of thought. Did very well. After he left, GE became a shadow of itself. But some people will tell you there's also a strong side to his story. So Nigerian leaders who have multiplied themselves, permit me to mention Aliko Dangote. If you are here and you have built a refinery, challenge me. If you are here, if you are here and you grew up, no, I will get into trouble. The MD of that company is a friend. But when I was growing up, if you wanted to get cement, it was a problem. But this man, a Nigerian, invested in Nigeria. And because as a banker, I've also been involved in the relationship team. 5 minutes more. I've seen the people he has gathered to make this happen. You have to multiply others. The third point is about the culture you want. You have to build culture intentionally. And people talk about culture being the shadow of the leader. What shadow are you casting as a leader? Leaders who do not lead beyond self, do you know what they do? They will say, we will do this. They will be doing the wrong thing. I share an example. When I first joined my current job, the escort team, they will just take the wrong direction on Marina. No, it's even on a lonely road. One guy, and that's why it's nice to have people who can talk to you. Say, Chief, you know what you're doing is not right. I said, what is that? He said, no, I came here, I just resumed, and they were taking the route. Quickly, I borrowed sense and did what is right. What message are you signaling? Are you telling people, don't do this, but you are doing the reverse? You have to build a culture intentionally. There's a company, Netflix, and because Pastor is here, some of you will say, we don't watch Netflix. It's not that I don't want Pastor to sanction me, you understand? I will tell you, there's a program many of you have watched. You can't say it in church that you watched the program. You will think that Nigerians, that's the only thing they watch over the last 3 weeks. But Netflix had a culture renaissance. They had a culture memo to deal with how they would live their lives. And the leaders reflected it. And today, in Nigeria, some people have stopped watching DSTV, NTA. It is Netflix. In fact, it's a problem now if your wife is watching a series and you are not joining to watch the series. Is it by force to watch series with what? Culture is not a poster we put on the wall. It is the way we live our lives and we show the example to others. Let us remember, some of our decisions would outlast us. Every major decision we make either strengthens or weakens the institution's capacity to function without you. Many people have had to deal with the baggage of wrong leadership in the past. Is that what you want people to remember about you? Or people remember, oh, Mr. Y, he did this, and we're still reaping the benefits. You know the story of Apple. It's painful. If you carry an Apple phone, they're always trying to rip you off. You have barely gotten used to Apple 16. They are launching Apple 18. But no, it was the result of a deliberate culture in an organization. Let's keep pushing them to want more. The person who did the magic at Apple is a guy called Steve Jobs. Self-centered man. He had to change, and he put in place a succession plan that ensured that the person who took over from him did better than he did. Do you know there's a sad succession stuff in Nigeria at times where people want to put weaker people to take over from them so that they continue to say, sorry, I can only say this in Yoruba, forgive me. Nigba ti bobo yen wa nbe. I hope you get the message. Please, in our places where we work, discipline number 5, let's encourage what I would call courageous conversations. Silence can be very expensive for a leader. Don't keep quiet when things are wrong. Tell the truth quickly. Tell Wale, I do not like what you're doing. I do not like the direction. Say it early. But also create psychological safety. Very important. Make your environment an environment where people can talk to you, people can share feedback without feeling that you will fire them. Listen to people. How many of you know that I will get into trouble? You know there are car brands and there are car brands. Strong brands, though. But let me tell you something. If you've ever tried selling a car that you've used for a few years, there is one particular brand that you will always get top value for. I did not say it. But you know what they did in Toyota? They had a mechanism that if things were going wrong, people, no matter how junior you are, you just pressed a chord, they stopped doing everything to fix the problem. No matter how junior you are. So they institutionalized honesty and feedback. Sorry, as I say this, I remember something. Some of us think that some people are too inexperienced, too unexposed to give feedback to you as a leader. Pastor, I'm running out of time, but let me share a story with you. I know of somebody who got a role as an executive director in a major bank. Do you know who made the recommendation? Can you guess who made the recommendation? His driver. His driver told somebody, my Oga, he's just left this job. Oga, he's good though. Please tell me, since when did drivers start writing appraisals for executive directors? But he made that decision probably on the basis of the character of that man, his behavior. So please be open to feedback. The issues now as we wrap this up. When you are no longer in the room, when you are no longer in that your position, what does the room do? If you are not there, does the room freeze? Does it start looking for the next authority? Or does it move on with confidence? Because you have created an environment that says, we will do well, even if I'm not around. You know why there's a high instance of fatigue in corporate Nigeria? Do you know why? Leaders don't even want to go on leave. How can you think about leading beyond self when you cannot go on even a 1-week vacation or a 2-week vacation? Because you are scared that, they will unseat me. They will take this. And so if you're a leader here, let's listen to Denzel Washington. I've just confessed I watch movies. Don't aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference. Let me tell you something. If you aspire to make a living, you'll be so concentrated on the job. But once you want to make a difference, you begin to do things that the legacy continues. So the decision starts now. That the reason why we're here, and it's for us to make commitments, not just to come and listen. What are you going to be doing? I would like you to do a few things. Ask more questions than you answer. Can I repeat it? Ask more questions of the people who work for you. What more? Give more. Give more credit than you receive. That's a good job you've done. The company looked great today. You know we struggle with compliments in Nigeria. I apologize to the married men here. You know we're not good at complimenting our spouses. You're all looking at me as if I'm the guilty party. Give more credit. Celebrate. If my wife is listening to this now, I will be in trouble because she will say I did something this morning. But let us give more. Give more credit than we receive. And what do we do more? Build more. I asked you this question. Do you have a purpose card? Do you have a purpose card that defines who you are beyond the work you do? You know, I told you something. I got fired. Did I tell you? I hope you caught that. Some of my colleagues here, they're shaking their head. And for 5 years, I was not in executive employment. But my life did not spiral to an end because I had a purpose that I was still fulfilling outside the title that I used to bear. If you lead beyond self, your purpose must drive you. Why have you been planted in this role, in this time, in this country? I apologize, I've presented beyond time. I was meant to talk about leading beyond self, not beyond time. Thank you, and God bless you.